The Case of Porky's Pants is the first segment of the 16th episode of the first season of Looney Tunes cartoons, and it's definitely creative. I liked the interaction between Daffy and Porky, but I didn't really care for the narrative. I think part of the reason for this is because I'm not a huge fan of these private detective Looney Tunes cartoons. It's a role that Daffy Duck takes on occasionally, and I never really care for them. And this is, of course, what we have here. And the case involves, well, Porky's missing pants. Porky Pig, who doesn't wear pants. That is part of the joke, though. It's not like an oversight or anything. It is actually part of the joke. And it is very creative. I absolutely cannot deny that it's creative. And I did love the interaction between Daffy and Porky. But I feel like that's it. I just didn't really enjoy this one. I didn't really care for the narrative. And partly that's because I just didn't think the missing pants story was that fascinating. But also because, as I said, personal preference means that I don't really care for the fact that Daffy is occasionally a detective. I'm not a huge fan of that role for the character. But to be fair, that's not exclusive to Daffy. I don't really like any kind of private detective stories that we get in cartoons. Other cartoons do it as well. Not really to my liking. So I think part of this is personal preference, but I just also don't think it was the most fascinating narrative. Do I recommend it? If you're a fan of Daffy Duck and Porky Pig, I think there will be bits in it that you like. There are definitely some good aspects of the characters and the way they interacted, but the narrative, not so much. So it's not terrible, but generally I can't say that I liked it. The animation, however, is pretty decent. That's generally the theme across all of Looney Tunes cartoons, at least this series. So I have no issues with the actual animation itself. It does definitely get quite creative, but beyond that, and the interaction between the characters, The Case of Porky's Pants is just not one that worked for me personally.